Hello, Nix here, welcome to another Legacy video. Today I'm gonna play with a viewer list. This is a Zork deck list. They asked me to try this Entombsday list and make a video with it, so here we are. I did actually play a couple leagues with this deck, honestly, since I was a bit rusty with the Doomsday plan. I had to get used again with the Doomsday piles, basically. In fact, this deck is not easy to play, in my opinion, if you are not used with the Doomsday piles. I mean, Tassa's Oracle made things a little bit easier, but I think they are still very challenging, since you need to know what your opponent could have in their hand, or how they could disrupt your Doomsday pile, basically. So I think it's still very challenging. But anyway, yeah, today I will show you one of my pre-recorded leagues and comment my game decision through the replays, basically. Yeah, before that, let's give a look to the deck. If you want to know my opinion on this specific deck list, you can skip to the final thoughts part of the video. But yeah, this deck is basically a hybrid between two archetypes. In fact, with the main deck, we will play the Tin Fin strategy, where we want to reanimate fast Griselbrand with, you know, the Reanimator combo of Dark Ritual, Entomb and Shallowgrave, or also Goryo's Vengeance. With Griselbrand on the field, we can draw our 14 cards, try to find the combo again with Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Entomb, and one of our reanimation spell to reanimate Emrakul before combat, so we can basically deal 22 damage in one turn. Or if we can't find a way to reanimate Emrakul and win before combat, we can still win the game post-combat by going with an infinite loop, thanks to Children of Corlys. In fact, with Griselbrand plus Children of Corlys, you can sacrifice Children of Corlys, gain your 21 life back, and draw 21 more cards. So you will basically draw your whole deck with 6 Griselbrand activation. And together with Emrakul and Collective Brutality, you can basically have infinite damage, since you can go with Collective Brutality on 2 mods. Make your opponent discard a sorcery or instant card, but also drain them for 2 life. And you can also discard Emrakul with the Escalate ability, so you will shuffle your graveyard back into your deck, and you keep drawing those cards with Griselbrand plus Children of Corlys. So yeah, this is basically an infinite loop, and I will probably make an extra part in the video to show you how it works, maybe after the league. As protection, we do have a couple Thoughtseize and a Cabal Therapy to attack our opponent hand, 3 Days and 4 Force of Will to protect our combo. We have a lot of cantrips with 4 Brainstorm, 4 Ponder, 1 Preordain, 1 Consider, and Limdul's Vault to dig deeper in our deck to find the combo piece we need. We do also have Lion's Eye Diamond, which can be an enabler. If you cast Shallowgrave, you can crack your Lion's Eye Diamond, discard Griselbrand, and let Shallowgrave resolve, so you will end up with a Griselbrand on the field and free mana from Lion's Eye Diamond too. We do have a Chrome Mox as a 5th Lotus Petal, which is good to help you to play more spells after a Griselbrand activation, if you already play a land drop for that turn. so the 5th Lotus Petal is always good in those types of decks. We also have a Collective Brutality as an enabler, as a disruptive spell, and also as a win con with the infinite loop of this deck. And as a reanimation spell, we are gonna play 2 Goryo's Vengeance and 4 Shallow Grave to basically reanimate Griselbrand and also give him haste. While in the sideboard, we are gonna play the Doomsday plan with 2 Personal Tutor, Ideas Unbound, Tassa's Oracle for Doomsday, 2 Street Wraith, Edge of Autumn, Cavern of Souls, and Sheldock Island. And you know, we also have a couple Echoing Truth for good measure to take out annoying permanents such as Thalia, Guardian of Traben, which is always annoying for both the Tin Fizz plan and Doomsday plan, or, you know, Archon of Emeria, Narset, or Hullbreacher, cards like that, basically, that can stop both of our plan, basically. So yeah, if you expect Leyline of the Void from your opponent, you will always side in the Doomsday plan. The sideboarding is very simple. You will see it in the games, but I will also show you that here. So you will take out the Reanimator plan with 2 Griselbrand, 1 Emrakul, 4 Shallow Grave, 2 Goryo's Vengeance, 4 Entomb, and 1 Children of Corlys out, and you can put in your Doomsday plan, basically, with the 2 Personal Tutor, 2 Echoing Truth, Ideas Unbound, Tassa's Oracle for Doomsday, 2 Street Wraith, Edge of Autumn, and Cavern of Souls. So you will turn into a Doomsday deck. If you do expect Endurance, you can also play Emrakul and Sheldock Isle instead of, I don't know, maybe Echoing Truth, or you can just trim some other cards, like if you are on the draw, you can also trim a couple days and keep Echoing Truth in the deck. So yeah, the possibility of sideboarding are infinite with this transformative sideboard. But yeah, basically the sideboard plan is this one. So yeah, I think that's all, and I will see you in the games. Okay, here we are in the first match of the league, and we did pair up with one of our worst matchup, which is that Shadow. By the way, we did win the die roll and open a very nice hand with the turn 1 combo, but unfortunately we can also lead with Tootsies first, since our only mana source is a Lotus Petal and we need it to cast Dark Ritual into Entomb and Shallow Grave. With a land, this hand would have been golden, but we can't mulligan such hands, especially in game 1. So yeah, as I always suggest, if you open with a turn 1 hand, you should always go for it for many reasons. First of all, the opponent needs to play a deck that have a turn 0 interaction, like Force of Will, Force of Negation, or Endurance, cards like that. If they play them, they need to have at least one in their opening, so all in all, the odds are always in our favor to jam and resolve the combo, basically. Also, if you let your opponent have a turn, they could lead with Island and have more answer to disrupt our combo, like Minor Misstep or Dates, or even lead with Tootsies or Chalice of the Void and stop us from playing the game, or maybe even worse, combo off before us and win the game themselves. So yeah, if you have the combo, always go for it, especially in game 1. So yeah, sadly the opponent did have a Force of Will to stop us, but at least with our mana left from Dark Ritual, we can go with Tootsies and disrupt a bit of their hand. So yeah, the opponent kept a very strong reactive hand with double Totsis for Sowil and Kurmag Angler. So I decided to take their threat with these Totsis, and by doing so I tried to get more time to rebuild the combo through their discard spells, basically. So yeah, the opponent lead with Watery Grave into Totsis, take one of our Ponders. Here I really wanted to draw land to cast the Ponder, try to dig for Entomb. But I did draw Days instead. But yeah, the opponent decided to go with Brainstorm instead of Totsis. Maybe they were looking for more lands, but they didn't find land and decided to go with Wasteland instead. Luckily, we did draw Polluted Delta, so we can fetch our basic island and go with Ponder. We did find Dark Ritual, Gorion's Vengeance and Misty Rainforest. So yeah, I decided to keep this hand. I know the opponent have a Totsis in their hand, so I basically wanted to have double reanimation spell in my hand to answer their discard spell. So yeah, with double reanimation spell, even if they go with Totsis, I still keep one in my hand. Here they go with Ponder. I could have tried to daze it, but it is basically useless since they have Wasteland to pay for it. So Ponder resolves, and they didn't shuffle. So yeah, here I draw my Gorion's Vengeance. Misty Rainforest is kinda bad since it can't fetch our basic swamp, and the opponent keep casting Ponders, try to find another land to cast their Totsis. This Ponder didn't shuffle also, and yeah, they did find the Polluted Delta, but didn't go for the Totsis play. So yeah, I also did draw Dark Ritual. Since they have a Wasteland, I basically need more mana to go Entomb and Shallow Grave, since my only mana source, black mana source at the moment, is a Misty Rainforest. So I have to fetch for an Underground Sea, and that Wasteland would have hurt us very badly. So yeah, here the opponent finally decided to go with Totsis, take our Shallow Grave, which is basically our best reanimation spell, since it doesn't target the creature in the graveyard, but in game 1 that's not a problem. But unfortunately the opponent did also draw a third Totsis to take our Gorion's Vengeance too. So yeah, here I draw Preordain, another sweet cantrip. I decided to keep both cards in my hand, on top of my deck, since as I said, I need more mana, and the Polluted Delta can fetch our basic swamp. And yeah, Consider could mill Griselbrand into drawing a reanimation spell if we are very lucky. But yeah, the cantrips of our opponent was better. They did find more disruptive spells into a big threat. So yeah, this is basically game over. I mean, this Brainstorm could let us find Entomb into Shallow Grave. and we also have Dark Ritual to go all in again, but yeah, Murktide is an 8/8, and the opponent looks like they did also have a Force of Will in their hand by their pause on my Brainstorm. So yeah, a basically impossible game to win. So concede the game and go for game 2. So yeah, for game 2 I decided to go with the Doomsday plan. I think, as I said, that Shadow is one of our worst matchup, because that deck is a combo killer, so both of our plan are very bad. The Reanimator plan and Doomsday plan are very bad against them, since they have discard spell and counter spell, and they can play threat, aggressive threat, really early in the game. But yeah, I decided to go with the Doomsday plan anyway, since it could play around Surgical Extraction or, you know, Grave Hate in general better than the Reanimator plan. So yeah, here we open another strong hand, but unfortunately our mana source are always Lotus Petal and not a land. I really wanted to have these Days as protection, but you know, since we are playing against a discard spell deck, I decided to go all in for Doomsday. Turn 1, so Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Doomsday. But yeah, the opponent did had Force of Will, pitching Baleful Strix. I could have still draw lands to hardcast this Doomsday if the opponent didn't had discard spell, but yeah, they go Surgical Extraction on Doomsday, and this is basically game over. So yeah, that Shadow is a very hard matchup, so it is fine to lose this game. At least it was fast. So yeah, let's go to match 2. Okay, second match of the league. I think we were against Natural Order Omnitell with Atraxa. I really like that deck. I think I will make a video with that deck. I really wanted to try it myself. But yeah, we are on the draw. The opponent mulligan to 6. We open with I think this hand is kinda weak. I mean, we still have Brainstorm. We can go land Brainstorm, shuffle back our Emrakul in our deck, shuffle it away with our fetch land. But yeah, all in all, this hand is kinda weak. So yeah, I think there are better 6 cards hands. So you can easily mulligan such hands. Okay, we go down to 6, and we open a interesting hand with a double reanimation spell, a Force of Will. Yeah, the opponent go down to 5, so I thought they were on a combo deck, maybe all spell or reanimator. So yeah, I decided to keep this hand, since we had a Force of Will and bottom Emrakul. I wanted to keep a double reanimation spell in the case they lead with I don't know, Totsis, so I could have kept a reanimation spell together with a Force of Will. So yeah, the opponent led with Misty Rainforest into Snowcover Island. So yeah, I thought they were on maybe Sneak and Show. They did mulligan a lot and go Island Ponder. So it is basically a combo deck, and most likely sneak and show with that first play. So yeah, we did draw Polluted Delta, lead with it to fetch a basic swamp in the case they had Wastelands. So yeah, here I decided to go all in, fetch all my lands, play Lotus Petal. I have a Force of Will to protect my combo, so I decided to jam it. They could have minor missteps, Flusterstorm, cards like that, but it is unlikely they have such cards, since it looks like a combo deck to me. So I decided to go Entomb. They went with Force of Will. I had the Force of Will to protect it. Entomb Resolve. Go for Griselbrand. Reanimate Griselbrand. And yeah, if the opponent can't answer this play, they are basically dead. Since we have 17 life, we can draw 14. If we whiff with 14 draws, we can still go to combat, attack them, and gain 7 life and draw 7 more cards. So we basically can draw 21 cards, try to find Children of Corlys, and basically go infinite. So yeah, here we find Chromox, Entomb, and yeah, since we didn't whiff, I decided to go with Emrakul to finish the game immediately. So you can also go infinite with this deck, draw 20 cards, reanimate Children of Corlys, gain your life back. Try to put Emrakul into your graveyard with Collective Brutality or Entomb, shuffle your graveyard back, and you know, basically keep drawing with Griselbrand plus Children of Corlys. So yeah, the opponent did see our reanimation plan, so I decided to go with the Doomsday plan instead. If the opponent decided to go with I don't know, Grafdigger Cage or cards like that, yeah, you can also play one Shadowgrave to go with maybe a Doomsday pile with Consider, put Tassa's Oracle in your graveyard and go with Shadowgrave, but you don't want such plays, since you want to play around graveyard hate, basically. So yeah, here I decided to keep a hand with double Doomsday. I also have a Force of Will to protect ourselves from a fast combo hand. I have Force of Will with Limdul's Bolt as a pitch. I did put this Lion's Eye Diamond on the play. Probably it was wrong, since the opponent could remove it with cards like Prismatic Ending, but yeah, I think that's fine. Since I have Force of Will in my hand, I didn't want to use that Lion's Eye Diamond anyway, so it was fine to use it as a bait for a removal spell. So yeah, in their end step I decided to go with Limdul's Vault, try to find a Dark Ritual to cast this Doomsday. But yeah, here I find a really nice 5 cards with double land, Tades, Lotus Petal. So since I have 2 Doomsday in my hand, I really wanted to draw those cards to cast my Doomsday. I also have a Shaldock Island in my hand, so I can make a Doomsday pile with Emrakul maybe. So yeah, I decided to keep those 5 cards, and I basically wanted to yeah, I decided to draw Personal Tutor as a pitch for Force of Will. I still keep Ponder in my hand. I want to basically draw my 2 Underground Sea before casting this Ponder. I wanted to keep it after a Doomsday to win in that turn. So yeah, the opponent goes Ponder and didn't shuffle. I draw my land. Here the opponent goes with Natural Order, and I decided to force it. Of course, I didn't want them to go with Atraxa. Probably the opponent had the Flusterstorm in their hand, but yeah, I had 3 mana up to pay for the Flusterstorm, so it was fine. But yeah, the opponent didn't had Flusterstorm, but had Force of Will instead. Kinda weird they didn't fight on their Natural Order. But I'll take it. Here I draw more mana, which is always nice. And I go with my second Doomsday. And it immediately resolved. So yeah, as I said, I wanted to go with a Sheldock Alpile. Since I have Sheldock Isle in my hand, I decided to go with a pile with Emrakul, Cavern of Souls and Tassa's Oracle to also beat Force of Will. And yeah, the last 2 cards could have been random. Basically, I decided to go with Doomsday again in the case I needed to go with another Doomsday pile. And also a Cabal Therapy. So yeah, the pile was Doomsday as my last card in the deck, Cabal Therapy, Tassa's Oracle, Cavern of Souls and Emrakul. I play Sheldock Isle, so I could get Emrakul under it. Shuffle the 3 other cards back on the bottom of my deck, but you know, I still had Ponder to draw into Tassa's Oracle. Basically, since I would have draw 1 card for turn, go with Ponder, look 3 cards and get Tassa's Oracle. So yeah, the opponent indeed had the Endurance, shuffle Doomsday back under my deck. They went with Brainstorm and thought for a while on this Brainstorm. I think this Brainstorm was very good. In fact, they go with Icefang Quattrol into Noble Hierarch, into Deafening Silence. So yeah, they play a lot of permanents for my Emrakul trigger and also attack for 5 damage with the double exalted trigger. But yeah, Deafening Silence is not a problem since I can still cast Emrakul plus Ponder in the same turn. So here I go, cast Emrakul for free with Sheldock Isle. Also cast Ponder to draw Tassa's Oracle. attack for 15, and I mean go to my extra turn, attack for 15, let them sacrifice 6 permanent, but they can sacrifice 4 lands, Ice Fang Portal, and maybe a Noble Hierarch, I think. So they basically have still lethal on the field with Endurance and 1 Noble Hierarch. With the Exalted Trigger, they could have still attack for 4, but yeah, I can go with Cavernous Soul on the Merfolk and Hardcast Tassa's Oracle to win the game. So yeah, Doomsday piles are very hard to make. You have to build them in a way to play around your opponent's hate, and yeah, the opponent did make a very strong turn, play a lot of permanents for the Emrakul Annihilator trigger. They did also went with Deafening Silence, so I can't go with I don't know, Brainstorm into multiple spells. But yeah, that Sheldock I'll play into Tassa's Oracle, play like 2 turns, try to win the game with Emrakul. If they draw, I don't know, Caracas, you can still win the game with Tassa's Oracle. So yeah, you basically need to build your piles, your Doomsday piles, to beat most of your opponent's answers. But yeah, that pile did work, and let's go to the next match. So yeah, third match of the league. I did pair up with White Initiative. I was on the draw, so I decided to keep a reactive hand with Force of Will, and you know, also double cantrip to dig for Entomb or Griselbrand, and use that Cabal Therapy as an enabler to put Griselbrand in my graveyard. But yeah, the opponent decided to lead with Whiteplume Adventurer. I had to force it, of course, since I don't have the combo in my hand. I am kinda slow in this game. So yeah, I decided to go with Ponder. I don't know, I decided to keep that 3 cards. I thought I had time to dig for more. You know, I basically need the mana and another cantrip, so I kept a Ponder with a fetch land to dig for more cards and thin the deck a little bit more. So I decided to go with Scalding Tarn, fetch another Underground Sea, since White Initiative doesn't play cards like Wasteland. But yeah, unfortunately I didn't find Entomb or Griselbrand, so I had to shuffle with that Ponder. But the 4th card was another Shadowgrave, which is bad. Shadowgrave is very strong against Initiative, but with this deck, once Griselbrand hit the battlefield, you basically win the game. You can also Entomb for Emrakul, attack them, steal their initiative, and they had to sacrifice all their permanents with Emrakul attack. So it is a very nice way to win the game. Like attack with Emrakul, they sack all their board and you steal their initiative, so you win the game with the initiative triggers. But yeah, I did draw Aiades and basically lose the game. I had Entomb, Griselbrand and Emrakul as outs, but didn't find any of them. And I had the Little on board. So yeah, for game 2, the opponent didn't see I was on Reanimator plan. They could have thought I was on Doomsday, so I decided to keep the Reanimation plan and go for game 2 with the Tinfin's plan. If you do expect Leyline of the Void from the opponent, you should always change your plan into the Doomsday plan. Take out your Reanimation plan and side in the Doomsday one. But the opponent didn't see that I was on Reanimator, so I decided to go for game 2 with the same main deck plan. Okay, game 2, I did open a terrible hand. I had Lion's Eye Diamond as an enabler, but I didn't have a creature in my hand. The mulligan to 6 was also bad, since I didn't have lands to cast my spells. It had the D combo, but the opponent can easily go turn 1 Chalice of the Void, and you basically lose the game. So yeah, the mulligan to 5 was very reactive with Totsis, Dates and Force of Will. So I decided to keep it, try to disrupt my opponent's hand as much as possible, take the initiative creature with Totsis, Force and Dates the next ones. But the opponent kept a kinda weird hand with a lot of mana, double initiative pieces and a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So yeah, here I decided to take their Lotus Petal, since I have Dates and Force of Will for their initiative pieces. If they want to play the initiative creatures, they have to exile 2 cards with Chrommox. So this was basically my plan for this game. Counter their initiative creatures and dig for the combo with Ponders and other cantrips. So yeah, here the opponent go with City of Traitors into Chrommox. They did top deck another Lotus Petal and decided to go with the initiative creature, but they didn't play the Chrommox to play around Dates, so I can easily Dates that creature. So yeah, the opponent basically needed to top deck a Plains or a white card to hardcast their initiative piece. So here I decided to keep a Ponder with a reanimation spell and a fetch land. Unfortunately, the opponent did find a white source to cast their Seasoned Dungeoneer, so I have to cast this Force of Will to counter it. So yeah, I basically need to find Entomb or more cantrips to combo off. Unfortunately, I can't Shallow Grave their creature. Here I did find a Totsis to take their Solitude, so they can't go Chrommox, pitch Solitude and cast a White Plume Adventurer basically. I could have also take their Chrommox, but if I went with Emrakul, they could have gone Solitude Exile Emrakul. But yeah, the opponent top decks were very good, like top deck land into White Plume Adventurer. So yeah, not bad. Here I didn't draw Entomb, but I did find Griselbrand, so a top deck of Cabal Therapy could have been also good. Unfortunately, I did use both my Tootsies, so I only had the Cabal Therapy and Entomb as outs. But yeah, here the opponent attack for 5. So but yeah, I can draw basically 14 cards with Griselbrand. I go with Brainstorm, try to find Entomb, didn't find it, but I can go Island into Ponder to find, to still find Entomb. But I didn't find it, and I had to concede the game, since the opponent had lethal on the field. Okay, first match of the league. I did pair up with a Yorion deck. I thought they were on deck 10 taxes. You know, when I see a Yorion revealed, I'm still used to think about the deck 10 taxes, but they can be Esper Vial, Blue Zenith. They can be a lot of decks. But this time they were on another Natural Order Atraxa deck. So yeah, I did win the die roll, so I decided to go with a mulligan, try to find a turn 1 or at least a turn 2 combo hand. If they reveal Yorion, if they are dead end taxes, you should mulligan for a very fast hand, like a turn 1 or at least turn 2 hand, to don't die to Talia, Guardian of Traven, basically. So yeah, the mulligan on 6 was very nice, since I had a turn 2. So I lead with Misty Rainforest. So the opponent don't expect a Reanimator play from the Misty Rainforest lead. But yeah, the opponent did lead with Prismatic Vista, so I thought it wasn't Death and Taxes anymore. But I decided to go with Entomb in the end step anyway. The opponent did mulligan to 6, so I decided to go with it anyway. So yeah, the opponent went with Force of Will on my Entomb, but I still have Consider to dig for a creature or another Entomb. I decided to keep these dates on top to counter my opponent play. Like, I don't know, a turn to Green Sun Zenith play. Here Ponder is very nice, so I can try to dig for Entomb, as I said. And I did find it, together with Brainstorm and another Ponder. I was thinking to wait a turn, draw the Brainstorm, but then I decided to go with Entomb in their end step anyway. They did already cast a Force of Will, so I didn't want to let them have more turn to draw more counterspell, basically. In fact, they had Force of Negation in their hand, and they can't use it in their turn for free, so that Entomb was a very nice play. lucky for us, we also have another reanimation spell. So I went with Shallow Grave. They could have still Endurance in this spot, but they need to cast it for free. If they art cast it, I have days to counter it. So yeah, I decided to go with Shallow Grave. And the opponent decided to concede. So yeah, against them I thought they were on a blue Zenith deck, so I decided to side in the Doomsday plan. I think the Doomsday plan is better than the reanimation plan against control decks, since we don't have the same consistency of a black-red reanimator or mono black reanimator, so going for Doomsday is probably better against those control matchups. We don't have that many discard spell, you know, to disrupt our opponent hand from the counter spells. We did open a very nice hand with Dark Ritual Doomsday and also Collective Brutality to disrupt my opponent hand from counter spells. I also had the Emrakul in my hand, so Collective Brutality can easily put Emrakul in my graveyard and basically shuffle it back in my deck in the case I wanted to go with the Sheldok Isle pile. Here the Totsis is a very nice top deck, but I decided to keep in my hand since I wanted to go turn 2 Collective Brutality into turn 3 Totsis plus Dark Ritual Doomsday. So I decided to keep that Totsis in my hand for a turn. So yeah, here to be more mana efficient, I decided to go with Collective Brutality on my turn 2, and as I said, go with 2 modes and shuffle my Emrakul back in my deck for Sheldok Isle pile. And the opponent did reveal a Force of Will and Natural Order. That's fine. I decided to take their Force of Will here. They can basically draw 3 more cards with Icefang Quattle, draw for turn, and also the Uro trigger. But that's fine. So yeah, here they go with Prismatic Vista and also hard cast this Uro. They did find a Wasteland with Uro, and I thought I wasn't going to go with the Sheldok Isle play anymore, but the opponent decided to waste my Underground Sea immediately, one of my Underground Sea immediately. So yeah, here I can go with the Totsis into Dark Ritual Doomsday. The opponent did reveal a Force of Will, but they didn't had a blue pitch for that Force of Will. So yeah, the most scary cards in their hand was Natural Order, since if they top deck a land, they could have gone Atraxa and fire more annoying cards like, I don't know, Endurance and cards like that. So I decided to take their Natural Order and make a pile to win in the next turn immediately. So yeah, I went with a very easy pile with a free Cycler, Tassa's Oracle, and a random card. I just put dates in the pile. But yeah, I basically wanted to win the game with Tassa's uncounterable Tassa's Oracle and keep one card in my deck still. So yeah, Endurance would have been very annoying. But the opponent did reveal Caracas. So I knew my opponent had no impactful card in their hand. They only had Force of Will and a Yorion to pitch to Force of Will. So yeah, here I went with cycling double Street Freight, Edge of Autumn, play Cavern on Soul on Merfolk, and cast this Tassa's Oracle to win the game. And okay, last match of the league, I was against Romario Vidal. He is a streamer on Twitch, and he is also known as a Doomsday player. So I really wanted to have a very fast hand. Since I did win the die roll, I wanted to go all in turn 1 and don't let them go land their critical Doomsday. So my mulligan to 6 was incredibly good with the combo plus Force of Will. So yeah, I jam it immediately. The opponent went Force of Will, but this time I had the protection for my combo, and yeah, it was a very fast game. For game 2, I thought the opponent was on Doomsday. They usually play also other decks since they stream on Twitch. They usually play other decks to have more variation for the stream content. But yeah, I thought they were on Doomsday with Force of Will pitching Brainstorm. So I decided to go with the Doomsday plan myself, since Doomsday have like Leyline of the Void as Graveyard Hate, and also Relic of Progenitus. So yeah, I decided to mulligan, try to find a better hand, and this hand with double Doomsday and double Trips were very tempting. It was very resilient to a discard spell. If I managed to find the third land with one of those cantrips, I could also go on Doomsday. If they counter it, I can play the second one. So yeah, I decided to keep this hand, and I didn't know what to put on bottom. I think I put on bottom Dates. Being on the draw, Dates is not that good, honestly. So yeah, to play around the discard spell, I decided to keep double cantrip, double Doomsday, and double land. And in fact, the opponent did lead with a turn 1 Totsis. And decided to take my Ponder. This kinda weird. I think Brainstorm is better. If you want to take a cantrip, Brainstorm is better, since I can cast it to protect myself from another discard spell. But yeah, I'll take it. So yeah, here I lead with a fetch land. and pass the turn immediately. I don't want to go brainstorm. They could have another discard spell, so I keep this brainstorm to protect my Doomsday, basically. Here the opponent goes with Ponder. At least they didn't go with the Dark Ritual into Doomsday. They can still do that with that Lotus Petal. So it was very scary, but you know, I still have Brainstorm to dig for, I don't know, a Daze or a Force of Will plus a blue card to pitch. So yeah, that's also a reason to take Brainstorm instead of Ponder in that spot. Here the opponent didn't shuffle, but they had a fetch land as a shuffle effect, so they did probably find a piece of the combo, maybe, like I don't know, probably Doomsday, and kept Doomsday on top of their deck, in the case I did top deck Tootsies, so they can draw Doomsday in their turn, fetch land and hardcast the Doomsday. So yeah, here I decided to go with Brainstorm, try to find a Dark Ritual, and I was very lucky. In fact, I did find Dark Ritual. I thought that I only had this turn to cast a Doomsday, so I had to go for it. So I got awarded with that play, and this Brainstorm did find me a Dark Ritual to hardcast this Doomsday. I also find a Lotus Petal to play around dates. So this Doomsday did result, and I thought for a very long time for a pile. I basically wanted to play around a lot of things like Surgical, Snuff Out, Counterspell, but I really wanted to win in the next turn, so the pile was very hard to make. But in the end I decided to go with the easier one, just put a bunch of Cyclers and a Cavern of Souls, in the case I had one more turn to draw 2 cards. So yeah, my pile was Cavern of Souls, Tassa's Oracle, and triple Cycler on top of my deck. So yeah, in the case the opponent did go for Doomsday in their turn, I could go Tassa's Oracle immediately. If the opponent didn't go with Doomsday, I can try to wait one more turn to draw also Cavern of Souls, try to win the game that way. So yeah, here the opponent went with Brainstorm, and you know, with Ponder they didn't shuffle, they still have a fetch land on the field, so they also went Brainstorm immediately. So I was thinking to date this Brainstorm to take out one more mana for their combo. They can go, I don't know, Brainstorm into Dark Ritual Doomsday, and with that Lotus Petal they can still go Brainstorm into win the game. So yeah, here I was thinking today's that Brainstorm, and I did it. I don't know, I thought it was nice to deny more mana from my opponent. If they want to go with Brainstorm, they had to use one of their mana, so I think it was a good play. But yeah, the opponent can still go Dark Ritual, Doomsday. They also have a land drop still, so they can easily win the game if this Brainstorm find the right cards. So yeah, here the opponent fetch a Underground Sea and go for the combo. So they go with Dark Ritual, Cabal Therapy, thought this was fine. I didn't need that personal tutor, and I did go with Doomsday. I could have still lose this game with Night Whisper. The opponent can make a Doomsday pile with Cycler and Lionside Diamond on top, hardcast the Night Whisper, draw 2 cards, and win the game. But yeah, the opponent did pass the turn, so the last card in their hand could be maybe a Dates. I was looking what the last card could have been, but I didn't see any Dates, so I decided to jam it anyway. So I go Cycler into Tassa's Oracle, and they were basically on f6. So yeah, I did end up with a positive result with a free win and only 2 losses. Okay, here I am to show you the infinite loop of this deck. You should always go for a hand with the Entomb plus Shallow Grave combo. Try to reanimate Griselbrand as fast as possible. So we go Entomb, put Griselbrand in the graveyard. Cast Shallow Grave to reanimate Griselbrand. You can draw 14 cards before combat. So yeah, here we still have our combat phase. So with the combo again in our hand, you can just Entomb Emrakul, and on Emrakul trigger you can Shallow Grave her, so you can attack for 22 damage. But let's say that we didn't find the combo in combat, so we can go to combat, attack with Griselbrand, gain 7 more life. We can draw 7 more cards to find, I don't know, Children of Corlys plus Lotus Petal, or you know, the Dark Ritual Entomb Shallow Grave combo for Children of Corlys. So you can repeat the drawing cycle of Griselbrand. So yeah, let's say we did draw 21 cards this turn, and we did find Lotus Petal plus Children of Corlys. So we can go for the children here. Sacrifice children, gain our life back, and keep drawing more cards. You can draw 21 more cards. We did find another Lotus Petal, so you can play all your Lotus Petal. together with Dark Ritual. We also have a Collective Brutality in our hand, so you can basically, with 9 black mana, you can go with Shallow Grave, get Children of Corlys back, cast Collective Brutality with 2 mods, with Duress and the opponent drain life. You will also discard Emrakul, so you will shuffle your graveyard back into your deck. Then you will sacrifice Children of Corlys, gain your life back, draw again to find Emrakul, and keep going by casting Lotus Petal, more Dark Rituals, Shallow Grave the Children of Corlys, and you can basically repeat this combo infinite times. If you end up with Collective Brutality in your graveyard and Emrakul in your hand, you can still cast, I don't know, Lion's Eye Diamond. Since you can discard your Emrakul, you will shuffle your graveyard back into your deck. Or you can just go Thoughtseize on yourself or Cabal Therapy and discard Emrakul and keep going that way. So you can discard your whole hand. Emrakul will shuffle your graveyard back into your deck. You can then sacrifice Children of Corlys, gain life, and keep going infinite times basically. So yeah, this is the infinite loop of the deck. But yeah, all in all, the deck felt okay, I guess. I honestly didn't like the less consistency of this version. If you play black-red or mono-black Reanimator, you have like 10 discard spell at least and 12 reanimation spell with at least 8 enablers, 12 if you want to count Unmask 2. But yeah, if this deck want to play the Doomsday plan, you should trim reanimation spell and discard spell for more cantrips to have a more balanced Doomsday deck, basically for game 2 and game 3. But yeah, all in all, I can still beat the opponent's hate in this actual meta very nicely. But yeah, there are a lot of annoying decks that can beat this one. With this version, you are weaker to Delver, I think, since you will play the blue cards and the opponent can counter them with Pyroblast. Also, you don't have the same consistency against Delver, where you have 12 discard spell to attack your opponent's hand and deploy your reanimate combo without problems. So I think it's kinda weaker against Delver in that way. Also, the Doomsday plan is terrible against Delver. Also, Delver do have Murktide the Regent, which can be bigger than Griselbrand. So you will probably end up to reanimate Emrakul and go in a top deck war. But nowadays Delver do have more stronger cantrips like Expressive Iteration that will easily win a top deck battle. So yeah, also Death Shadow and White Initiative are very bad matchups. So yeah, the deck felt pretty nice, but I don't think it's very good at the moment in the meta. You can probably drop some counter spell like Force of Will or Daze to add more proactive play like Grief or Unmask. You can also go with Reanimate maybe. Also, Deep Analysis is a very cute way to win the game with Consider and Lion's Eye Diamond. But yeah, all in all, playing this version will make games harder to win instead of going full Doomsday or full Reanimator. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you next time.